Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. Before we start, I'd like to mention that if you want to join my live stream, I'm streaming at my other Good Free Photos channel, and that link will actually be down in the description as well as the first pinned comment. I also have another channel. It's called Crypto Daily Update, and that's going to gather all the day's great crypto news and put it into one spot for you, so you don't have to watch one video a day to get your daily crypto update. That link will also be in the description and in the comments as well. So check those links out. But now let's actually go on to the main topic. A lot of you are interested in Vechain, and we know of all the partnerships that they have now, but what about future partnerships? We're going to speculate on some of the big future partnerships. Now, these aren't pulled out of thin air. They're building on what Vechain has now, so there's at least more of a chance that these will happen. Yes, many of them are in China because most of Vechain's big partners are in China as well, although we do have one extra one that is not actually, well, a couple of ones that aren't in China, and we'll actually begin with those. The first one is IBM. Now, this has actually been talked about. Like Vechain and IBM on Twitter, like the representatives of the two companies have actually like tweeted about it. It's not confirmation by any means. All that was really said was like, hey, we could actually do a hybrid blockchain, with like example IBM. And then like the IBM rep was like, yeah, that definitely is possible and we're looking into it. But that is not confirmation that they're actually doing that, obviously. They could do it with other private blockchains in China as well. IBM just responded to Vechain's tweet saying, yes, we are looking into hybrid blockchains. They did not say we're looking into hybrid blockchains with Vechain, but it is possible because they were kind of like in each other's threads. And people have been speculating on this for a long time. We know Vechain's going to have a share of the Chinese market. And if IBM wants to get into the Chinese market, there might be incentive for them to partner up with Vechain. Same thing, that would give Vechain away into more American and international markets because IBM runs in a lot of American and international markets. It is one of the most trusted names in the business. So IBM is one that's actually been a little bit hinted at on LinkedIn, on Twitter and stuff, but there's no confirmation. But it is definitely possible that Vechain and IBM could work together in the future. The other one is Target USA. Now, Jason Rockwood has actually said that we do have more big American partnerships coming up, and Target USA would be a very, very logical one because Walmart China is already working with Vechain. So, Target might see that. They might want to get in on the action. As far as I know, Target doesn't have their own blockchain solution, so they might want to use a ready-made one like Vechain. And Target would actually provide a lot of TXs. Now, if Target actually onboards, it's probably going to be like Walmart where it's very, very slow. Walmart China, we know, is actually working with IBM blockchain, but like we just said before, that might somewhat involve Vechain in the future. Not right now. And right now it doesn't. In the future, if Vechain and IBM decide to partner up. But Target USA is definitely another one to look out for. There's been rumors about it. Obviously, no confirmations, but it is another partnership that actually would make sense. The third one, and the rest of these are going to be in China for the most part. The third one is the Chinese national vaccine. Now, this one actually makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the pandemic has made this more of a priority. They're supposed to announce it like at the end of April or something. No, that was the national blockchain. We'll talk about that later. This might be more of a priority now, but we know that Vechain has been working with tracking vaccines in Shanghai. So it's already tracking vaccines in China's largest city, or one of the largest cities. Shanghai is either number one or number two. Regardless, I don't really know if Shanghai or Beijing is the biggest city in China, honestly. They're pretty close, honestly. So, it's being used for tracking vaccines in one of the biggest cities in China already. It's been used for 2 years. Seems like it works. It's a ready-made solution. So the Chinese government might be like, hey, let's just use this because we need it and we need it fast. None of these other solutions are really deployed on a scale yet. Like this Vechain has been deployed in Shanghai. So they might end up using Vechain as a main integral part of the eventual Chinese vaccine solution. The fourth one is the Chinese national blockchain. Now, for a fact, it's not going to be the central part of this national blockchain because we know that most of the central blockchain is going to be made of private chains. And yes, there are other public chains like Alibaba that doesn't actually use a cryptocurrency that are probably going to be part of it too. But Vechain could definitely be a part of it. We know it's doing relations between China and Europe with food gates, and it's actually in China, a lot of China's big industries, Shanghai Gas for one. So it actually might be part of this national blockchain. Pretty big deal, probably a lot of TXs, and it would definitely boost because of FOMO. Now, I want to remind you guys that just because there's an announcement of one of these big partnerships does not necessarily mean the price is going to skyrocket up. Yes, there will be like some of these ones like Target, obviously, or Chinese National Blockchain, China Vechain, IBM. They'll actually generate a lot of FOMO and there'll be a sudden pump. But remember, these are big companies. These are big implementations. It's not like we sign the paper, snap, we're using it completely. That's not how this works. It's not how it works. And the problem is that it actually takes several years to actually integrate Vechain into any of these solutions. So if they get announced, look for a slow but steady growth of TXs, not like TXs to the moon one day, because it's not like they all go online at one time. That's like a disaster, basically, a technical disaster waiting to happen. They have to test, they have to do beta tests, they have to do like pilots and stuff like that to make sure everything works well. So keep that in mind. Another possible partnership would actually be Binance. Binance, the thing is, like, they've partnered with several cryptocurrencies. I'm not exactly sure how Binance would actually use Vechain. I suppose they could, well, they already offer Vechain staking, so I'm not exactly sure like how the partnership will work, but Binance has made a lot of weird partnerships with a lot of coins. So that's always possible, especially if, especially if they like want some way with the Chinese government, partnering with a coin that already has Chinese governmental support might be the way to go. If they support more Chinese projects like Vechain, they definitely could eventually gain good graces with the Chinese government. I'm just thinking that might be a possibility because Binance has partnered with all sorts of random coins before for whatever reason Binance partners for. So that's definitely a possibility. Now, the next few are all going to be grocery chains. Walmart China, we know, is number 4 in China for grocery chains. But what about the other ones in the top 5? Well, here we go. So Sun Art Retail is one of the biggest retail grocery chains in China. They may partner with Vechain. China Resource Enterprise might partner with Vechain because they're also a big grocery chain. Yonghui Superstores, that actually might partner with Vechain as well. And Carrefour China Incorporated and also Lianhua might all partner with Vechain because they're the other 5 or 6 biggest grocery chains in China. It makes sense. Walmart China is getting tracking. They're gaining more trust. They might actually get more customers into Walmart China because of the authenticity. Once Walmart China starts massively implementing Vechain, these other guys might actually look at it. They might be like, well, we could actually develop our own, but that would be private. And if we want public trust, we need a public blockchain. Should we go with Alibaba, Vechain, or any one of these? Oh, Vechain already works for Walmart China. Why don't we just go with them? So that's definitely possible. Once again, like Sun Art Retail, China Resource Enterprise, Yonghui Superstore, Carrefour China Incorporated, and Lianhua, these are all grocery chains, and they might all actually partner with Vechain, or at least some of them, because Walmart China is, and they don't want to get out-competed. That's definitely possible. Remember, none of these have been confirmed, but it's definitely possible that other big grocery chains in China might not want to get out-competed. Walmart China, we know, is expanding by 500 stores. Well, that actually might be cut short this year because of the pandemic, which sucks, but Walmart's going to make that expansion sometime. They might only open like 100 this year. They'll maybe open the next 400 next year. We'll actually see how that goes. But these are definite possibilities for partnerships for Vechain in the future. All 5 of those big grocery chains in China. Another one is Topo, which is like really kind of like China's eBay. If Alibaba is Chinese Amazon, then Topo is basically Chinese eBay. And like they might be competing with Alibaba, and if they don't want to use their competitor's chain and they want a public blockchain, they might not have another choice besides Vechain. So they might actually partner with Vechain for verification and authentication purposes. We know that Alibaba is probably a no because they have their own blockchain, and it wouldn't really make any sense for them to use Vechain if they already have their own public blockchain. But Topo might actually partner with Vechain as well, just to compete if they don't have their own private solution, which I'm not sure if they do or not. Don't have much information on that, unfortunately. The other one, now we have the like big car manufacturers in China. And I think this is definitely possible because BYD is already partnered with Vechain for their carbon credit system. They eventually, if that works, they might eventually want to partner for logistics and stuff. But like carbon credits is like a big thing. If any of these 4 companies are actually working on low emissions vehicles, which I'm sure some of them are, they might actually want to partner with Vechain too. Also, like with BMW for like the car verify car thing, That's also very big in China, like counting the car's odometer and used cars. That would be pretty big. I know there's like, even in America, there's a lot of like scams going on with that, like reversing the odometer. In China, there's just probably even more. So based on that, those car companies might actually get in on the action. And those car companies, the biggest car companies in China are SAIC Motor, Dongfeng, FAW, and Chang'an. So like remember those four names as well. They might partner with Vechain. They're possibilities. Now the last category is T companies. Why T companies? Well, Vechain already has partnerships with a couple of T companies in Japan and China. The other competitors might look at it and be like, hey, we need some of that action. Otherwise, our partners are going to have authentication and verification where we don't. So some of the biggest T companies in China are Zhejiang Orient T, Shenzhen T Company, and Hunan Tea Company, as well as Yunnan Tea Company. Now, they already have a partnership with a tea house in Japan and a couple of partnerships in China. I'm not really sure if these are actually partnered yet, but many of these are not, and they're definitely possible and candidates for partnership because Vechain has inroads into this industry already, and they might see their competitors actually getting an advantage on them, and they might want to partnership. Now, so those are the possibilities. Now, like I said, most of these possibilities have extended from, hey, Vechain's already got a partnership in this industry. You don't want them to outcompete you on authentication and verification because that's getting more and more important in China. And if you don't want to do that, you might want to partner with them as well. So we're going by that logic. We're just not like randomly pulling companies out of thin air. So hopefully that gives these more of a chance. Even if Vechain doesn't get all these companies, and which I'm pretty sure they won't get all these companies, but even if they get like maybe like 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, that's a big score and win for Vechain. And that would put more pressure on the rest of the market to actually partner with them. Now, there are infinite amounts of myriad possibilities for Vechain, but these are just the partnerships that I think are more likely because Vechain has inroads into these specific industries, and they've actually been talked about online and speculated as well. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Those are the partnerships for Vechain that I think that actually might happen. So thank you, have a nice day, and subscribe to my other channels. And remember to hit the bell notifications button and turn on notifications in your account. Otherwise, you will not get the notifications. Thank you, and have a nice day.